Welcome to Embrace the Awkward podcast, where we have one goal in mind, and that is to help you handle awkward better. I'm Mike. We're here, Kyle,
Hey,
and then a good friend of mine that I've known throughout college here, AJ. AJ, how are you doing?
just AJ.
This is AJ.
Yeah, just
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, we we've known
We're
each other for a while, and you know, I'll let AJ can introduce
yeah.
himself
This
best.
this entire episode will be you, AJ, that you are the
It's you.
subject. But before we get to this is a really only third episode that Mike and I have done on the Embrace the Awkward podcast, and I have not done an episode where I had my hat off, and man, is my head shiny on your screens?
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
this
yeah.
is surreal. This is hard for me because I'm like I want to move and my head is shining. I'm going to give someone a sunburn. Yeah, so this is kind of surreal and weird for
My
me.
eyes.
Yeah. Sorry about that blinding you. I just wanted to point that out because it's awkward to me and I know you're sure or thinking about it because that's all you do is think about me. But I want to bring that out before we get going.
Yeah,
Uh
no, I'm glad we could get that awkwardness out of the
we're
way.
going to live with it. All right.
Good.
Well, yeah, AJ, thanks for joining us on this episode. As we are just talking about, you know, we spent our last episode talking about programming Sundays and Wednesdays,
Yep, which is
and we
better.
mentioned, we mentioned, context is key in all of that. Maybe you do Sundays for high school, Wednesdays for middle school. Maybe you do Sundays for middle school and high school, or Wednesdays for middle school and high school, whatever that looks like for you. We're just going to spend our time on this episode talking about, do we keep our high school groups together, or do we, and middle school groups together, or do we separate them? All right. And uh,
Mhm.
so thanks for joining us on that, AJ. Just go ahead and take a minute. Tell us who you are, ministry experience, all those great things, whatever you want people to know about you. I'll
Yeah.
let you take that over.
Awesome. Well, yeah. So I mean, just kind of a lot of background, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
I
go for it.
mean, grew up grew up in the church. Grew up kind of in the Wichita area.
Okay.
Super involved with my youth group, like student leadership team, kind of those things. And so even serving on the worship team, kind of helping lead small groups, stuff like that. And so really kind of started to get a lot of a feel for those things, even while I was still in high school. And then kind of like you had mentioned, we actually went to college together. And so
Yeah.
then in college, and we went to Hutch together, spent 2 years. I was a music performance major.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I got a degree in music, primarily in jazz study. For bass and guitar was my main focus, but then
Yep.
which is
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. What did you want to do with that? Because you're basically a youth pastor now, right? Like, what did you want to
Yeah,
do with
so
that degree? Honestly, before ministry called you, what?
it, I mean, it's kind of this thing of like I feel like a lot of musicians have it, but I was like, dude, I'm gonna be like this studio musician. Like,
Ah,
I didn't so much want to like tour and like travel. My idea was to be more of somebody that like people hire to go to a studio and like record an album for
yeah,
them
yeah.
and like plan an album and then like cool, have fun on your tour. Not my like see you later. Like call me
Yeah, you
when
didn't
you
want to
need
be
me
a
to come
rock
back in and
star.
record.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like I really just wanted to be like a studio musician.
Which
Um
totally
and
checks
then
out.
which
Totally
yeah,
checks out. If
Okay.
you
yeah.
guys ever got to know him, he will never say this, but he is just a really great musician. Basically, anything that he's picked up, he just is able to kind of play.
So, how
And
many
so
instruments you played?
it's
How many total instruments you play? You think?
Uh,
Like
um
legit, not
oh
just like
bro.
I can try it.
Like legit, I would say like bass guitar, um, drums, percussion stuff, keys.
Okay.
Uh, I'm definitely rusty, but like if I like I all through college I played tuba, um, and like played tuba in the marching band at K-State for one
Okay.
year. And so like that's probably a main one. And then like a lot of my musical background was actually starting out in orchestra. So even like aside from just like guitars, like playing an upright bass was actually like where I originally started. and would like I played in
Okay.
like orchestras for a few
Yeah.
years, and then kind of has transitioned out of that. But
So would you say everything but drums?
yeah, and drums are kind of like a like I can sit down and like be pretty rusty, but like if I were to
You can play
dedicate
drum.
some
Okay.
time, like I'd be okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're a full band. Got it. Got
Yeah, he could do everything. He could do just about anything.
Yeah. So you graduated from college with this jazz degree, as so many people do.
Mhm.
Then
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, so I graduated in that time, and of course that's the year everybody loves. It was COVID, and
Oh,
so then I had this plan really. So my original plan, because at this point, graduating from Hutch, I kind of had this roadmap of I was thinking about, okay, I think I would like ministry. You know, I've been serving, I've been doing a lot of stuff in the summers when I was in college. I would go back and serve in my old youth group and serve on the worship team and do everything. And so I kind of had this roadmap idea in my head of okay, I just did my first degree. I'll go to K-State for 2 years. I'll get my bachelor's in still in music performance. I'll just kind of expand on it. And then I'll kind of look and search for some type of like church internship or something
Yeah.
down the road. Like
okay.
I'll kind of get to that eventually was my idea. And then obviously this is all during COVID, and so school is very different,
Yeah.
especially in the context of music, where I got to K State, and in that semester, like I had to play tuba while wearing a mask, um,
Oh,
and it was crazy. Like it just little things that
is that
like
even possible?
so we would cut holes in the mask so the mask would go over our mouthpiece, and then we'd still be able to play. And yeah, it
Oh,
just was one of those things. Like it,
does
like
the trump
Oh,
the
it
man.
doesn't make
I think
sense.
I'm not a musician, but the trumpet has this little spit valve that you drop out. Does the trombone has
Mhm.
that too? Doesn't
Oh,
that defeat the
Yeah,
entire
so
purpose if
any
you empty
brass
it?
instrument has that.
Yeah, every
Yeah, so we
brass
would still
instrument.
like dump our spit out and like and everything, but we
Yeah.
would still wear these masks with the holes cut in them.
Okay.
But it's just like the little thing, like, and it just was difficult. Like even during that time, it like we would have rehearsals and like conversations over Zoom, and Mike especially knows this because we had kind of have our last semester at Hutch like this, but
Mhm.
doing anything musically where it's really relational, like music is just so
Yeah.
relational, like trying to do that over a screen is so
Oh,
difficult where it was really hard. And
yeah.
so I actually only lasted one semester at K-State. And it was crazy. Like there was a I just would still like get up before my classes. I like I'll never forget my first class every morning was a conducting class over Zoom that I hated and I was terrible at it. Yeah, like legit conducting
Oh,
because we
They
would do
make
it like
you
I would
buy an expensive, like, I'm just calling it a
oh it
conductor
was like
stick right now.
the stick?
yeah like
I
yeah the
remember,
guitar like it was like $150 like
yeah,
for this little stick.
That's
I
more
remember
expensive than
coming
a Harry
to,
Potter
yeah,
wand.
literally. No,
Yeah.
I remember coming to visit AJ for the first time, and we were both were in Manhattan. And he's sitting there in his room and sitting at his computer. He's like, dude, they made me buy this $150 stick for class. And I'm just like, that's crazy because I will sit here and just use a TV remote. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
there's no, dude, what you're holding does not change the outcome of this at all.
Wow. Okay. Do you still
Agree
have
to
it?
But
disagree.
I do actually still have it. Like it's just sitting in that case.
Okay.
I'll probably never
Yeah, it
take it
better
out
come with a
again.
case. It better come with a case.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
crazy because you couldn't just oh you couldn't, but like they would actually make you test them out. So before we bought them, they would have everyone taking the class come, and you would have to like balance it across your finger to make sure that it was the right weight for your hand. Like they have like a whole science for it. So
Wow.
it was like it was almost kind of like Harry Potter. It was like this is your wand, and it's
You
very
learn something
special
new
to
every
you. And
day.
I'm like, this is a really cheap plastic stick that I just bought for $150. But I mean that's like way off. But
You're fine.
so yeah, like I just remember I had that class. And before that class every morning, like that would be like my quiet time. I'd get up, just be in the word, kind of have that time. And for like a probably a solid 2 weeks during that time, you know, I just really unhappy with school, unhappy with kind of the situation of what it looks like, and just kind of started. then feeling the Lord kind of press of like, okay, what if your plan to do your 2 years and then go do an entrance, like what if that was different? And I was like, well, I mean, I kind of told myself that I would do this, and I'm like one of those people, like if I set a goal like that for myself, it's really hard to not follow through.
Yeah.
And so I really for a couple of weeks had this really big wrestle of like I know God is kind of telling me to not do this and just to kind of maybe start thinking of praying about ministry, but like I feel like I'd be a disappointment to myself if I did that. And so it was a big struggle for a couple of weeks. And then finally there was one day and I'm just doing my quiet time and I would always do like a YouTube playlist or something just quiet in the background.
Yeah.
And this morning it was like when YouTube does this thing where there's like 30,000 ads before a video, like there's just these ads and it literally was like almost I think it was two or three in a row and it was the exact same ad and it was for a like an 8 month online ministry program
Oh,
specifically for worship.
okay.
um and I was like the first time it pulls up I'm like oh man that's cool. They and it was like this semester that it was happening was the very first semester of the program, so it was brand new. And I'm like oh man that's kind of cool, like skip, like as soon as I had
Yeah.
the opportunity to
Yeah.
skip the ad. And then the second ad starts and it's the exact same one. And so then I'm like, okay, cool. Like the ad's like a minute and a half. I'll just listen to the whole thing and then just go on with my day. So I listen to the whole ad, then the video on YouTube plays, and then YouTube, like the exact same video, before it moved on to the next one, it played an ad at the end of the video and it was the same ad again. And so then it was
Okay.
kind of like a,
This
okay, I'll click the link.
it's
Like
God
I'll
speaking to you
I'll
flash through
check it
Google
out.
Ads. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And so I click the link, go check it and like read through all the program details. And then like they had like this thing of like, oh, like give us an email, we'll send you some more info, you know? And so I sent in and not even 5 minutes later, I get an email from like an advisor at this program. They're like, hey, I just saw like you wanted some info. I'd love to sit down and have a phone call with you and just talk about it. I was like, okay, like I have this class like it's about to start. Like I have some time later today. So then I call them, have a phone call with them. And then they're like, well, this phone call was actually I didn't tell you, but this was like an interview for the program, and based off this phone call, like you've been accepted. And you can start after this semester and you can start like in the new year if you want to. I was like,
Well,
dang. Like, wow.
hey,
Um,
thanks, YouTube.
and so then yeah. And so then I it was right before Thanksgiving time, kind of went home to visit family for the holidays and then went to my pastor and kind of talked to him about it of like, hey, what do you think? Like this really would require me like dropping out of K-State and leaving that, but I could do this and then kind of make this shift towards ministry. And it was really cool. He loved the idea and he even brought it up where, okay, if you do this, we actually would love to even bring you on as an intern so that way while you're in the program you would start getting real-time ministry experience. And so I started doing that and then got involved with another like worship ministry, traveling and serving all over the place, which then actually like we would travel and help other churches on Sundays, um, just like give their worship team the day off on a Sunday, and just go and serve and lead their body in worship for that Sunday. And so I was doing that for a few years and kind of some different like residencies and programs and going through and just learning like more of the practical things, but even just a lot of hands-on ministry experience. Um, and then yeah, like I said, we ended up serving at the church that I'm at now. We went there one time, and then a couple months had gone by, and we went back again. Um, and I didn't know this, but during that time, we'd been there like the two times, and they had been looking for probably like a year or so, I think, for somebody to come in on staff to do both worship and youth ministry. And that was a big need for them. And so they were kind of talking to like the leaders of the ministries that I was in without me knowing, and kind of like, hey, this AJ guy, like, what's the vibe? Like, kind of how is he? And they're like, man, we think he'd be a really great fit. And so they were kind of talking back and forth behind the scenes. And then Brandon, my pastor now, like reached out and was like, hey, like, would you be willing just to come in and lead on a Sunday? We need somebody. Like, we have a whole team. We just need somebody to come in and lead our team. And I'm like, sweet, yeah, no problem. I didn't know this is like a full like trial Sunday, and
Yeah,
like I
this is
completely
your interview.
unaware. Yeah, this is my interview Sunday, pretty much. And so like I come in and lead, and then like the next day, hey, we'd love to sit down and have a conversation with you. Like we want to offer you this job. And I was like, oh wow. I had no like for me, I'm like completely like, wow, like this is amazing. Like I had no clue. Yeah. Kyle, I think your mic might be off.
Yeah.
Are you sorry? Yeah, there you go.
There it is.
So at this time, are you done with your online schooling or you're in the middle of it? Like, where's the time frame here?
Yeah, so I was done. So I
Okay,
finished that online,
you
and
have that
then
degree.
this has been probably about like a year afterwards.
Okay,
Like when I was still kind of traveling and doing this ministry and my internship. So I did
gotcha.
the program, graduated, but then kept doing like the
Yeah, so this is a
residencies and the
different
internship,
church,
kind of
and
everything I was at.
you have a surprise interview, and it looks like it
Mhm.
went well. And so they hired you. Like after that interview, how long did you start before you started? I said, say, like,
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't long. It was maybe a couple months. They
okay,
offered me it, and then I really kind of asked like, well, hey, like I'm about to end. I was doing a 2 month summer residency with the worship ministry when they did this offer, and so I was like,
ah,
I have a couple weeks left. Like, can I just spend the rest of this time kind of really praying about it? Because it would also require me, like, I was living in Wichita, so it would also require me moving to Newton, where I'm at now, and so it was kind of just some so I mean, just the realities of like taking a job. Like I just was like, hey, can
yeah,
I have a couple weeks just to
right,
like fast pray about it, just take some time, and they loved that I would have wanted to do that, and so
okay,
then I ended up taking it, and then started, and then now in this last October, I've been here for 3 years now, doing
okay.
youth and worship ministry.
So, what is your title at this church?
Yeah, so it'd be like the worship and youth pastor.
Okay. I didn't know if it's something fancy like New
Yeah.
Age, bringing people to discipleship worship. Like, okay, so just worship youth pastor. Is there a percentage, and again, not trying to get you in trouble, of how much do you
Mhm.
spend with the worship part and how much do you spend with the youth part? I know it's all mixed together, but percentage
Mhm.
wise, what's your job split up?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, every week is different.
Right.
I do try to have a rough schedule of my week to where, so we, and I'm sure we'll get into this here in a little, and maybe, but so we do youth on Wednesdays,
Okay.
and so our work week we do Monday through Thursday, and so what I like to do is, Mondays is like first day of the week, and that's where I come in, and I'm primarily only thinking about youth on Mondays.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about that coming Wednesday. I'm doing most of my like sermon prep on Mondays,
Okay.
um, trying to get everything put together. And then Tuesdays are typically right now a lot of our staff meeting days. And
Yeah.
so we'll do like an all staff meeting. And then I have like my individual meetings that I'll do like with Brandon, or kind of just some different planning structure things throughout Tuesday. And then if I have extra open time on that day, I just kind of feel it off based on the week of,
Right.
okay, is this time that I should dedicate to worship or to youth, and kind of just based off of what's coming up. And then Wednesdays, I kind of split the day. In the morning, I think a little bit more about worship. I'm thinking about this coming Sunday. Kind of are there little things that I can start to do just to get off my plate? And then the rest of the day, I'm thinking about youth, getting ready for service, making sure everything's set up, pizza's ordered, kind of all those things. And then Thursday is my day that's like I'm only thinking about worship primarily. I'm making sure screens are loaded, making sure like all of our click tracks and everything are in the computers, making sure the stage is set up, like pro
When
present.
do you
Like
have
it's
like
just
worship
that's like
practice?
my day.
Do you have worship practice
So
during the
we do
week or is it?
Sunday. We just do Sunday mornings, like
Wow.
before
Okay.
Okay.
service.
Wow. How do
Yeah,
Nice.
you
and
I have to
so
ask real fast. So
mhm.
not to the same, capacity that I know that your guys' church does, but um we're going into more of a more intentional, like, doing more worship practice. Like
Mhm.
we're even now using like split tracks here soon. Like how do you equip your leaders? This is totally off topic given
Oh no, it
the
counts.
episode. But how do you
Yeah.
equip your leaders in such a way where you only have to practice on Sundays?
Um,
He just
yeah, so
plays by
some of
himself.
it
He plays
is
every
like
instrument. Don't you know that?
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just
yeah. It's
AJ and
the
he's
whole
playing
team.
it.
No, I mean I'm so blessed. Like my worship team, everybody that serves is phenomenal. Like they like honestly like they make it pretty easy for me where I can just so I schedule all of the month or I try to. Um I mean things happen and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
creatives and sometimes just last minute schedules things happen. But what I try to if I'm on my best behavior, I'll try to schedule like the entire month out for Sunday mornings. That way, no matter what, they see the set and they have like a couple weeks to
Sure.
prepare. And then everybody like when I schedule and I kind of try to communicate, everybody has like a really good idea of like here's the role that I'm in and what I would really be doing for that Sunday. And so that
Sure.
kind of helps and even just like the rotation of it, they've all like been doing it where they know of like, okay, this is the reality of like what I'm doing. Here's all the charts. Here's I know everything
Sure.
going in. And then I always just tell like and it's very open to my team of like if they ever then have questions or like need to figure things out during the week, then I'm always available then where we can set something up and I can work it out individually with them if they need to.
Wait.
But then yeah, so we always then come Sunday mornings, like an hour and a half roughly before our first service,
Okay.
and we do a sound check, kind of get
Right.
ears set up, run through the songs, look at
Sure.
transitions, and then that gives us time then to then be in the lobby, kind of mingle with people, and then pray
Yeah.
as a team before service Sundays.
Yeah. And you have one or two services on a Sunday morning or three?
We do two services.
Two services. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so Sunday mornings, you're 90% of the time being the worship guy. Like that's the
Yeah.
youth might be around, but that's your main responsibility. And that's kind of
Mhm.
separating those worlds. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's so important. If you can plan out ahead, it will just make your leaders better because one, it
Oh, for
builds
sure.
trust,
Mhm.
and two, it helps. Oh, these are my responsibilities. When you do last minute additions or hey, I don't know what we're going to do this Sunday, and then you expect them to practice that, it's impossible. So yeah,
Oh,
I
for sure.
understand that.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so let's talk about youth a little bit. Break it down. Maybe some of your students will listen to this podcast and all that, so be careful what you share. But honestly, good and bad, like what is your overall culture of your youth ministry? So first off, is it combined middle school and high school? What's the kind of some service times like when you start end? And then like what's your demographics? Like, you know what? Most of mine come from suburbia or they're heavily Christian or they're totally outreach or it's 50-50. Let's give me a little bit about your youth ministry.
Mhm. Yeah. So we Wednesday nights we do 6:30 to 8 p.m. And so a lot of that, like, I just go, I'll kind of just talk to like our service flow of Wednesday
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
first, and then I'll kind of jump into that. But so what we do, um, the kind of like first 20-ish minutes, so like 6:30 they come in, and my wife and I will like greet all the students as they come in, kind of like checking in, just kind of do all those things. And then our building's set up to where um, we actually have our youth on the second floor of our building, and
Oh,
so we'll like be in the lobby of the building, and then students will come in and we'll send them upstairs, and like the rest of our leaders will be upstairs with them, so it's just not like totally unsupervised. But so we'll be there that way, like we're the first point of contact, and we can see them and say hi to them, ask them how their day was, kind of things like that. Um, and I mean, most of the time they just kind of we have a couple
right.
students that'll have those conversations with us, and then I mean, you guys know, teenage like
It's
some
like,
most of the time they'll
hi.
just come in and be like, "Hey, can we go upstairs?"
Yeah.
Like that's like the
Yeah,
very
you're
quick,
here.
like,
We see you
yeah,
every
like
week.
go for
Yeah.
it, yeah. It's yeah, so they'll go upstairs, and what we our room is set up right now, so we have it's kind of like just couches, beanbag chairs, kind of just a lot of hangout. And then we have like ping pong table, foosball, like we have a dartboard, just kind of some of those hangout things. And then we
Cool.
have two TVs set up with Xboxes. And so
Nice.
it's kind
Sweet.
of like that whole beginning time, those that first 20-25 minutes is like
Hangout time.
yeah,
Yeah.
just hang out, come play the Xboxes. We have pizza and like So they just kind of come hang out, like, because I mean, we've tried it both ways where we'll come in and they'll just kind of wait, and then we'll just do one big group game, and it's engagement would kind of be back and forth. And so I was like,
Yeah.
honestly, like you guys have been in school all day, you've been doing stuff, like you probably do just want time where you can come in and just turn your brain off and just sit for a little
Yeah.
bit. And so
Yeah.
we have that designed to where they can just come in and have that time. And
Yeah.
then my wife and I will come upstairs, join them, just kind of still be in there that hangout time. And that's when we're really, and our leaders are kind of being intentional in that time of like, this is time just to like be relational with students.
Yep.
Just sit down with them, destroy them in Madden or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like
For sure.
I tell my team, like, I don't believe in mercy towards
Oh
students
no,
when we're playing those
no.
games. Like it's
No.
like
All
just
out.
be ruthless, all out. Like,
They'll receive that from God.
yeah,
They don't need to
go
receive it from
north.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we go in, like we just kind of hang out with them during that time. And then what we do is then we kind of transition. Um, and then I always start out, so I'll do like announcements, kind of like little things like what's coming up, what are things that even though it goes in one ear and out the other for them, it's just kind of like, hey, here's things that are happening. Like, and it literally will be like the end of the night, it's like, hey, when is that thing? And I was like, I literally told you 20 minutes ago, but it's fine. That's why we also send texts out
Yep.
because
Yep.
all they do is look at a screen. So yeah, I'll do like announcements and stuff, and then we just recently started this, but we do these sword drills. I don't know if you
Oh.
guys have ever like heard of that or done that
Oh.
before.
Yeah. When I was in middle school, we did sword drills.
Okay, yeah,
Never
yeah.
done
So
one, but I've definitely heard of them.
yeah,
Okay.
so we
So
we
you get your
started doing it.
conductor wand out. Okay. What else?
Yeah, yeah, I conduct them. Yeah, so and I always will like pick maybe four or five every week roughly, and they'll all be as connected as I can to what I'll teach about. And so then we'll just do these sword drills, and that's just kind of a fun way of like, one, it gets them to actually bring a physical Bible to youth group instead of like just pulling it up on their phone.
Okay.
And the other is just like like the reality is like it'll help them build some of that biblical literacy of trying to figure out where things are in the Bible. And so like that's kind of the biggest reason. And I always do like the first, if we have five, the first four will be like a candy prize or like a snack, like just a little thing
Yeah.
of like, oh man, like here you go, like you win, like you're number one or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
um,
Here's a
then
Snickers.
the very last one that like directly ties into what I'll teach about, I'll always do like a $10 or $15 gift card to like McDonald's or Taco Bell, something like that. That way there is a
Whoa.
little bit of
I
like,
know where I'm going to youth
Look at
group on
you
Wednesday.
blowing that budget at
like,
So,
McDonald's. Nice.
yeah. And so like it's just kind of like that little thing of like it even makes them a little competitive.
A
Um,
little. Yeah. I could.
or yeah, actually they actually can get really intense about it,
That's
which
awesome.
for me watching is kind of fun.
Oh
But
yeah.
and then like we do little things of like during our we typically do like a 3 week series, and so it's like if you've won a gift card during the 3 week series,
Ah.
you're done for the 3 week series. That way it's
Okay.
not like the same kid every week like
I was going to ask that because
racking up this
I got some
well.
homeschoolers that, man, they're years of experience.
Mhm.
And so I was wondering if they win once, I would have some public school kids who wouldn't even try, like, oh, so and so is going to win
yeah.
every time. Okay, that's a good rule.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
rule.
Yeah. So we have like little, and then like with the snack prizes, like you can only win one snack prize per night.
Okay.
So then it's kind of as funny of like sometimes students will be like, I won the snack. I'm not going to try on these next couple. But if they win the snack, they can still win the gift card if they haven't yet
Yeah.
necessarily. So like some of them will try to like plan it out of like, oh man, I've done the snack. Like I'm going to go for that gift card.
Right, right.
But it like gets them engaged, and then all from there I'll kind of jump in, and we've been doing I try to really only teach for like 15 minutes at the max, just because I heard that, I don't even remember what it was some podcast or something, but they were talking
Brace the
about
Awkward podcast.
yeah, probably, yeah.
That's real. Yeah, that's the only one you listen to. That's what I heard.
Exactly. Yeah. They're talking about like attention spans of like different generations and things. Like one of those, I was kind of like, why am I watching this? But then it actually ended up being really great. But yeah, they were talking about like middle school, high school age people. Like you take your average age of the people in the room and then that in minutes is typically what their attention span
Okay.
roughly is.
Interesting.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so, kind of thinking about like, so we start, and I'll kind of jump into this afterwards, but we go sixth grade through high school. And
Okay.
so that's kind of like roughly our median, it would be around that 15. And
Yeah.
so I was like, that's probably realistically, they've been in school all day, they've been in class. Like, I really only have about 15 minutes of their
Yeah.
attention
I mean,
before
if you do
they're
a 40
checking
minute
out.
message, you only have an hour really of programming. You're
Mhm.
dropping huge chunks of everything else if you do a
Yeah,
40-minute message.
exactly.
So yeah, attention span, practical. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
you do this life-changing message every single week. Then
yeah.
what?
Yeah, so we have this set up. So I do like a 3 week series for all of our series, and so what I do is, and that's so I can take like what would be a 40-minute message, and then I break it down into three, and so I start it 1 week, kind of get to the
Gotcha.
main point, and kind of close it out between those 3 weeks, and then
Yeah, no
every
curriculum. This is just you, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
and so
okay.
it's just kind of I base it a lot off at least this year, what I've been doing is following. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this series called Alpha.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I kind of took a lot of inspiration from that
Okay.
for kind of,
Cool.
I calendared it out to do a whole school year
Nice.
following a rough structure of what Alpha teaches, which is really just like core gospel, core beliefs, core learning about the Holy Spirit,
Yeah, very
spiritual gifts, kind of
evangelistic.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very just structurally building people up. And so we do that. And then at the end of every 3 weeks, we do one night where it's only small groups. And so
Okay.
Oh,
then it's just
nice.
kind of like guys and girls break off, all the leaders kind of, and that's more of the conversation of like, hey, these last 3 weeks, um, we've been talking about, for example, like faith, how to have faith. What does it look like to pray and to have these things in your life? And so then I create questions, but then I open it up to all of my leaders where I'm like, if there's even things that you've noticed or even in
Yeah.
conversations with students the last couple of weeks, like ask those questions. Like this is really the time for students to it's always open to them, but these nights are specifically ask us the questions that you
Yeah.
have of what we just talked about.
Yeah.
Let's like really sit down and have more
Yeah.
of a conversation. Like let me help you understand it maybe a little bit better.
How does that work for like maybe the student who hasn't been there in 3 weeks or like a new
Mhm.
student? How do you get them integrated into their small group and kind of the conversations that they're having?
Yeah, so if there ever is a new student, like I always try to be really intentional of like everybody at least before we get into everything. It's kind of like try to have some sort of like icebreaker question of like, all right, like how's your
Sure.
guys' day today? Like how's everything going? Like just kind of get them talking, and then make sure like by name have they been noticed like in our group individually, not to like just single them out and be like, man, they're new, but like, hey,
Yeah.
like Roger, like how's it going? Like I don't know any 15-year-olds named
Roger.
Roger
Yeah.
right now,
There you
but
go. There you go.
just like just
Yeah.
kind of
It's a
like
very
trying to get
popular
them
name in
in. And
2026.
then yeah. I try to like before we just do the questions, I give like a little like 30-second. I try to like, okay, here's what we've been talking about the last couple of
Yeah.
weeks.
Recap.
Here's the
Yeah.
main thing. And so I try to, especially if somebody missed a week, it's like kind of those things. I just give an overview of like try to jumpstart their brain a little bit, and
Yeah.
then we get into everything, have more of the conversation.
Sweet.
Um,
So
and
what's
then
your
we
kind of
always
go ahead.
Oh, I was
Sorry.
gonna say, then from there, like we always for every night, then we like end kind of doing more hangout time, or if it's like nice outside, we'll go outside and do like a
Okay.
game all together. It just kind of varied. Like for us, like our room itself, there's not like
The
great
space.
space to do like a full game all together, and
Yeah.
so it's really only if it's nice outside, then we'll like go outside, play like nine square, kill ball, some of the other
And
kind of.
they might leave around 8:30, like the 30 minutes extra, or they staying later.
It's typically like 8:15. Like when
Okay.
so we do like 6:30 to 8 as like our actual end time. But then I mean, you guys know like sometimes
Can
you go
stick
a little
around.
bit long, like kids
Yeah.
linger, kind of those things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. The parent who's like, "Oh, I forgot," or
yeah,
I have students. Have you ever had this situation, either one of you, where I have a student and we end at like 8:30 and it's like 9 o'clock, and I was like, "Where's your parents?" Oh, I told them it ends at 9:30. I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No, no, no." So I have to call up the parent. No, we actually end at 8:30. Okay, and the parent's embarrassed, and it's
yeah,
just one of those things. Like, no, no, 8:30.
Never had that happen, but given in my context, sometimes we have students who are, they live 30 minutes away.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, youth group gets over at 8 and it's 8:30 and the parent shows up and it's like,
Yep. Yeah, there's many parents I just awkwardly wait with. Usually it's the students, and I haven't had a lot of situations where it's just one student because we always try to have, either my wife stays or another adult leader, so it's not one-on-one situation. But there's been a lot of times. The latest has been an hour and a half, and that's because the dad, it was a divorced family. The dad didn't know where the church was because the mom dropped her off. And so I'm just awkwardly having a conversation with me and my wife and this girl for an hour and a half afterwards. We got really close, but it was the
yeah.
most awkward hour and a half, and it was just miserable. I know it was miserable for her, and we're trying. And
Did she
yeah,
come back the next week?
she did.
Ah,
She
great.
did. So we didn't scare her off, but I just felt so bad because I'm like, there's so many questions, and then she gets sick. She goes, "Can we just sit here? Because I don't want to answer any more questions." And I'm like, "Okay, we could do that."
Great.
And we just sat here.
Dude, that's
One,
Um,
awesome.
two, three, hush puppies.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
So, so
yeah, that's
AJ,
funny.
what's kind of your demographics? What percentage of middle school versus high school? And like mainly Christian, mainly non-Christian, public school, homeschool. What's that? Just you don't have to go into super details, but just love to hear about that.
Yeah. So we do 6 through 12, like all the way through high school. I'd say or sorry, 7 through 12.
Oh, seven. Okay.
I think I've been saying six this whole time, but we actually start at
Yeah.
7.
So kids
Uh,
ministry, sixth grade.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
So we do 7 through 12. I'd say right now our majority is probably like I mean, we have a huge group of seventh graders that all came in to where like our youth group really like, doubled in size over this last summer, purely from seventh graders moving up.
Oh my goodness.
So like a huge majority is that seventh grade group, and then we have a couple sprinkled in of like that eighth grade freshmen, and then we have a lot of sophomores, and then kind of like just a couple sprinkled in of like some juniors, and actually
Okay.
I only have like one maybe two seniors this year.
Okay.
One that's like really consistent, another one that's kind of like a scattered.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Mainly Christian, non-Christian. What's that?
Yeah. I'd say really kind of majority Christian, a lot that have grown up. Really, what's really cool is a lot of them that have grown up in our church.
Okay.
Um, and which is
Nice.
really cool. I like a lot of almost all of my youth leaders also serving kidsmen. And so like on Sundays. And so it's really cool because then
Oh,
as
nice.
students are coming up, they already have really great relationships with the youth leaders because they've been seeing them on Sunday mornings. And so that's also just a really amazing thing. But yeah, I'd say really like almost really kind of all really almost all of our students have come up from our kidsmen.
Okay.
And then we have a really spread out mix of um, students. We have like a majority, I'd say, are like Heston and Newton
Okay.
students. And then we do have like a couple mix of like that are a little bit like the outsiding area, just kind of like scattered around. And
Yeah.
so yeah, we I don't really have
So it's
I'm
not
trying
like
to
you got all these neighborhood and community kids or students
Mhm,
coming in. It's kind of homegrown, which is exciting.
mhm.
That is a good thing.
Yeah,
It shows that your church is healthy enough that families are coming,
yeah.
and you're continuing on the discipleship. Awesome.
Mhm,
Uh, Mike and I always love kind of hearing about different youth groups, partly because no one has the monopoly on the best youth group in the world.
mhm.
Everyone's different, but I mean, over the years of my ministry experience, how countless ideas I have stolen from other youth ministers, like, oh, that really good idea, and
Mhm.
taken from that. So that's why we love hearing about different youth ministries and why do you do what you do. Um, so we're going to take a little break and kind of have a new. We've been doing this new segment called "Brace Yourself," and so I'll ask the first question, and then Mike, is it my understanding that all three of us are going to answer the same question?
Yeah, let's just all answer this one.
Okay, so
Let's all answer it.
Great.
I'll ask it, and then you guys can fight over who's going to answer it first. But you're 3 years into ministry, maybe four. AJ, Mike, similar in that. So you might not have as many stories, but I have a ton of stories. But pick your best one. Um, what's the most awkward ministry moment that you've had? Like, what's the moment like? And you might share two or three little ones, but what's that moment that like, oh man, this is super awkward, and what happened?
Okay, ministry as a whole.
Yeah,
Doesn't
yeah, ministry
okay.
hall. It doesn't have to be specifically
Cool.
youth ministry.
I'm going first, AJ. Sorry. I'll
Okay,
give you a
go for
break.
it.
Give you a moment to collect yours. So, really bad thing happened for me, and I remember talking to AJ about this during this time, which is really crazy to kind of think about this kind of full circle moment. At my home church, I would play trombone in the worship band, and
Okay.
kind of just added some. I played along with the melody lines,
Okay.
and so I remember it's kind of like I kid you not, my first week playing trombone in this band, and we're sitting in rehearsal, and we have a new worship pastor. And basically, our drummer he's like, basically, I can't do it anymore. And as a lot of people figure out, like when you bring a new staff member on, it's a good time for people to transition out of that ministry compared to they know who they have. And so we didn't have a drummer for a Sunday, and I was standing next to the other trombone player, and I kind of elbow him a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, I could play the drums, ha ha ha. And so we go throughout the Sunday. We get the set done. It was really it was good. And I guess after service, the other trombone player goes up to our worship pastor and says, "Yeah, Big Mike can play the drums." I have never touched a drum set in my life. I have never, never, never,
You
never,
just said
never.
because?
Yeah, I get the idea of drums.
Okay.
I could do like a 4 on the floor. That's it. And so the worship pastor calls me during the week. Hey, you just want to come in on Wednesday? Show me what you got. I'm like, all right.
You showed up?
I mean, yeah.
I love the
Come on.
confidence.
Got
Love
that
the
dog
confidence.
in me, And so I was like, yeah. I mean, we needed a drummer, and I was a music major at the time, so like, there's always a slight understanding of like rhythm and percussion that goes along with that. And so I was probably the best option at the moment, and I knew that. And so I showed up, and I'm just like, hey, I'm just gonna be honest with you. This is my third time touching a drum set. And so I play a little bit, and he's like, hey, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna be all right.
Oh.
And I played drums for 3 months.
Oh.
For 3 months, and I kid you not. After that third month, I would get on Planning Center, and somebody else said they wanted to play drums, and I never saw my name on there again.
Did anyone comment on your drum style?
They said I was improving, so that's good. I did knock my drumsticks off my stand during prayer once because I'm kind of a big dude trying to sit on this.
Yeah, I can
trying to sit
picture
there
it.
and sit. Not good. Everybody just looks at me, and I'm just like, I don't even know how to play these, let alone sit down. So, real, obviously awkward 3 months.
But you stuck
And
with it for 3 months.
yeah, it was awesome. I just remember sitting there being like, just keep it simple, and I'm like, sweet. And we figured it out.
Okay.
So,
Mike,
Nice.
was that during the same time when I think it might have been there was like a couple weeks where so Mike and I were in the same jazz band at Hutch.
Okay.
It's like while we're there was a couple rehearsals where like our drummer didn't show up, and our director Nick was like, "Does somebody want to just hop
Mike
on
can
the
do
drum?"
it.
We threw Mike on the kit.
I'm not kidding you not. Like, no idea what I'm doing. And jazz band's way different than church music. Okay.
So what I'm learning from this is you don't actually need to know drums. Like anyone could be a drummer at any time. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah,
If you
Mike
have
would
a
just be down there
musical
and just be
background,
like, kind of give that like little basic like jazz coffee shop groove for every single song, no matter what it was.
yeah, and it
The
was so
conductor's
loud.
like, go faster.
There are so many times to where we would have to like, for whatever reason, somebody would be gone, and he would just pull somebody off their instrument and be like, "All right, you're playing claves," and it's just like, that's jazz band,
Yeah.
And
No
yeah,
other
it
instrument.
was
Yeah.
very, very much during that time. It was
Nice.
incredible and awkward.
Okay, that there you go. It's not necessarily a competition, but AJ, can you beat that?
Dude, oh man, I feel like, yeah, I don't know if in like youth I really have a crazy one,
That's good. That's
um,
good. It will
which is good.
happen.
The it's not as much awkward. It's just kind of like it just popped in my head of like this fun thing that I used to do.
Okay.
And Jacob Hall and I laugh about this all the time because this is when I
Okay.
was like interning with him, where every time I would teach, like I just started this one time where like I just would randomly like yell for no reason, like just like to make a point and just be like, ah, like and just like scare all the students.
Just when you're
Just
talking, or just
yeah,
like
like I
random.
would kind of like make it into a point almost, but like I just
Okay.
would randomly have this moment where I would do it and just like all the students would get scared and like freak out. Like it just became this funny thing for me almost, which is probably just
Oh, I love it.
Well,
I
this
mean,
is
just, yeah,
awkward.
Yeah.
This
yeah.
Yeah.
is this is awkward for sure.
For them, it really probably was, but it just became this thing where Jacob would like wait and he's like, I know it's coming. I just don't know when you're gonna do it. Like, and so yeah, I did
Shout out
that
to
for a
Jacob.
while.
Yeah.
My
Uh,
first week listening to AJ teach, I'm just like, and like, I'm never going back to that church again.
I'm
um,
awake. I'm awake.
yeah, I luckily that didn't carry over when I came to this church now. So I've kind of stepped away from doing that. That's like a
Yeah,
specifically like
you're
if I'm ever
you're
like
on
a guest
stage
teacher
playing
there again.
guitar and you forget what you're doing, and you're just like, man, and you're just singing this worship song,
Dude,
ah,
so
and everybody's like, you just got adults just
yeah, you just got to do like a factory reset of the room
If my
sometimes.
intern, like, if I knew that he was doing that on a regular basis, it would be like joy and anxiety at the same time. Like, when is it
Yeah.
going to happen? And I'm like, oh, it just happened.
there it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I actually, Jacob actually recently had me back. They do like they call it worship workshops, but it's like worship training for his
Yeah,
students. So
love it.
it's like totally off. But like he had me come back and I was teaching, and I was teaching on there's like 7 Hebrew words of praise, and I
Okay.
was teaching on that, and one of them is literally to give a shout of praise. And so I wasn't even planning it, but I just was sitting and I read like a shout of praise and it just popped in my head of like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I used to do this. And so it's like a really quiet room. It's like, yeah, like this word means a shout of praise. And I just kind of like let it sit for a second. And then in the mic, I'm just like, ah, like, and everyone like
Yeah.
freaks out. Jacob was like holding a pencil and he actually like threw it up. Like it like scared him. Like it just was like this thing of like this that
I,
little thing in my head. I was like, oh yeah,
yeah. I
I
now
could
want to
do
preach
this.
about the shout of praise. I just want to do that verse and just shout to see if
Oh
we can.
yeah. But yeah, so I mean, really, like I feel like I have so many like worship fail stories that I could tell.
Yeah.
But the funniest one for me recently, so the very first Sunday, I take this job. I'm at this church. My very first Sunday, officially on the job. Um, we have Sunday services, and then that evening we're doing a night of worship, like a community night of worship down the street, like in a park.
Okay.
And so in my brain, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a longer day. Like I can just carry over the set from the morning and then just add on to it for the evening. Make my life a little bit easier, make the team's life a
yeah,
little bit easier.
Yeah.
And so Sunday morning goes by, perfect first Sunday morning, like everything goes really great. Like it's awesome. We get to this worship night in the park and set up, go through sound check, everything's feeling really good. It's awesome. Like, and I have my phone set up so I'm like scrolling through lyrics because normally we have the TV in the back, gives
Yeah.
us all the
Yeah.
lyrics, gives us everything.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we go through, I'm like scrolling through my phone for lyrics during sound check, and I forget to scroll back to the top of every song before I
Oh,
like
no.
close it. And so we get started with the night. And I did 2 services that morning, came set up for a couple hours, did sound check. Like I'm just mentally like
Yeah.
there's some fatigue there.
Yeah.
And so
Sure.
we get started and I mean it's crazy. Like so the first 2 songs, or like just during it, we're going through and they might not have been first, but 2 songs that we had done that morning are Build My Life and
Okay.
All Hail King Jesus.
Okay.
So songs that have been around for a long
Yeah.
time. I've led them for
Yeah.
years, super familiar. And I start the song and the first one was Build My Life. I start the song, and I literally start playing the first chord, and immediately I don't know a single word to the entire song. It all leaves my brain, and I'm just strumming for a second. I'm like,
That would be my worst nightmare. I don't sing,
what
but that would be
what
my
is
worst
this
nightmare.
song about? Like what is the word? And so then I finally remember, oh yeah, like one of the lines is worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. I think that might be for like so I start singing it, and as it comes out of my mouth, I realize this isn't the first line. This is
Yeah,
like
no,
the third.
yeah,
And so then it hits my brain of like, okay, I know this isn't right, but I don't know what the first word is. And so then I sing worthy of every breath we could ever breathe like four times in a row. Like I'm just
yeah,
singing
yeah,
the
I get
line
it, AJ.
over and over again. And then I finally like look down and Brandon, my new pastor, he's sitting like in the very front and he smiles, he goes, worthy of every song. Because they have the words like for people
Yeah, they
there,
got the
they
Yeah,
have
words.
the words on the
Yeah.
screen.
right.
But
And you can't like
I'm
look
just
back.
singing the same words over and over again. And so then he does that to me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what it. And so then the rest of the song goes fine. Then literally next song, All Hail King Jesus, and I finally like have it on my phone, like pull it up, and All Hail King Jesus. I mean the song, it's like it basically goes like crucifixion, burial, resurrection, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
really like the story of the gospel through. And this is the one I didn't scroll back to the top of the song after sound check. And so I like open my phone, I have the lyrics, and it's on verse 3. And
Oh,
I don't register in the moment because I'm like, I'm so glad that that last song is over. I can move on.
Yeah.
And so then we
yeah,
start,
you
and I
can.
start singing and not paying attention. The words start coming out of my mouth. And then I realize, like two lines in, I'm singing about the resurrection and I have skipped the crucifixion and burial. So we sang verse 3 3 times in a row for every verse for all kill King
We're
Jesus.
gonna go Pentecostal. That's the most important
Yeah.
part,
I'm
people.
like, so we just keep singing about like the same verse over and over again. And and like this is my first Sunday with the church. And so then I'm like, man, this is their like impression of me is like, man, this dude does not know the songs he's
He
singing.
only knows one verse to every song, and he
Right,
sings it
right.
12 times.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's AJ.
And the
Yeah.
confidence
Most of
that
the
he keeps
time,
singing it.
yeah, most of the time worship leaders will sing a bridge over and over again. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, verse 2, let's just sing that for 30 minutes and call it good on a
Nice.
Sunday
Yeah.
morning. But
How
yeah, so
did
I
your
that
band? How did your band react to that? Were they just like,
the funniest thing is they were like were unfazed.
yeah.
They just were like
"Good, that's great. You
like
know,
This
that's a
they're,
happens
great
so
they're
feeling."
just like,
often.
man,
Yeah, we'll just go with it.
it's his first Sunday. Like we're just gonna like trust him. Like he must know what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
And so like they just
He's
played
the
through it
expert.
perfectly. Like
I love it.
they kept going, and I was like, man, you guys really are awesome because that was just crazy. And luckily like the relief is like for worship people. I think we often think about the words like that and like so weird, but most of the people like that were attending,
Yeah.
none of them had any idea. They just were like, oh man, like we're so glad you're on staff now. We're so glad that you're here. And I was like,
Yeah.
after that,
Okay.
you're glad.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Then I'm in the right place. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. But yeah, that was like so I'll never forget my first Sunday at this
Okay.
church. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Neither
it's
will
hard to
I. This is
forget that.
awesome.
And you handled the awkward wonderfully. Good job. Good
Oh
job.
yeah, like I've learned that just like in worship, like things happen. Like I've started songs in wrong keys.
Yep.
I've like started playing the wrong song and singing a different song. Like it just things like that happen. I'm just like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I get
Great
hey,
you.
job.
it's a fun story. Like
Yeah. For me, what's interesting is I have many examples, but I thought of this the other day actually because I you know how in Facebook you have that reviews the pictures come up of previous years and
Yeah.
one came up of this conference. So I was speaking at a middle school winter conference the second week of December. So it's like Christmas kind of theme and it was like 3 or 4 sessions over a weekend And my first session, I like to doing illustrations that you have to move around or do something. So I'm on stage, and I think the service is going great. I'm preaching very wonderful, and students are like they're laughing at my jokes and they're engaged. And I'm doing this illustration where I have to go up and down. So I'm laying on the ground, and then I stand up and I go and I lift some things up. And at the end of the service, all the students started calling me the Grinch, like, hey, Grinch. And I was like, haha, like I didn't really talk about the Grinch. I talked about Christmas, and I thought I was in good spirits. I'm like, oh, the Grinch. And I'm and like,
Oh,
okay. And no one's saying anything. And I'm just by myself. So this is before I was married. If my wife was there, she would have said something. Found out my zipper was open the entire time, and I had Grinch underwear on, and they could see it, all of it, right? Now, luckily, they can't
oh,
see me. They could only see my underwear. I want to be clear with that, okay? But
Yeah.
you would think
it's
my
all the Grinch.
friends, fellow co-youth workers would say something like, hey, 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 your fly is open, and I would zip up. No one said a word for a 30-minute message, right? And so then the other youth pastors started calling me this, and I didn't know until the second session, okay? when
Oh
when
man.
someone just before I go up to preach, like, do you have your zipper open? I was like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, yeah. The last time it was all the way down, and we saw everything, and I was so embarrassed. And then I go up and preach a second time, and I'm like, do I say something? Do I not say something? So to this day, I have a trigger. Like, I get triggered just before I preach. I go through and I touch my zipper and my pockets, and I'm like, okay, I'm good, because I'm totally, totally embarrassed now,
Wow.
and no one would say anything. And so I'm more embarrassed because no one said anything, and I'm acting like it's all normal, and the people are really into it, and they're
Yep.
laughing at my jokes, but they were laughing at me. To this day, I feel still I still feel anxiety about that. Ah,
Yeah, there's some adult right now who's like, man, we're not youth pastor. I have the Grinch underwear,
yeah. And if
and
I
it's
had black
Kyle.
pants on and black underwear, no big deal. But I
Yeah.
didn't, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know,
So
man.
yeah, I told my wife that story because we were dating at the time, because she wasn't there, and so almost not every Christmas, but many Christmas after that, she got me Grinch underwear for Christmas gifts, and I was
Yeah.
like, ah, thank you. So
Yep.
yeah, so that's just beware that you can have be vulnerable and not know it. So yeah, I
Sure.
years later. So this was 2007, something like that. Yeah. So I have some students who graduated high school, and on their goodbye letters to me when they graduate, they called me the Grinch, because that happened when they were in middle school. And so yeah, some of those people are now have kids of their own. That's how long ago it was, and I
Let me
literally,
tell you the story about the Grinch.
I'm still
I'm
feeling.
telling you, kids, right? And it's
Yes,
not the movie.
it's
Not the
generational
movie.
curse now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's
So
awesome.
this is ministry. Like, we are imperfect beings trying to preach about a perfect God, and so
Mhm.
there's going to be disconnects, both good and bad. And if you can laugh it off, even though it feels weird and bad, man, it's going to be better. So I'm just going to warn you to. There's many more to come, and no matter what you try
Yeah.
or how much you plan, there's going to be that awkward moments. So for AJ, before we kind of wrap up a few more things, if you could give some advice, now you're 3 4 years into ministry, if you could give someone who's just starting out, like, hey, I'm about ready to take this new job, I don't have full time, I've never been a full time youth pastor, what advice would you give to that new person? Like, here's what I would have done differently, or here's some encouragement I would give. What would you say?
Yeah. Man, I think big thing is just like don't underestimate the power of just like having a legit real conversation with a teenager. Like I think for my students especially, like there's been times where I've like heard from parents or like heard from people like around them afterwards of like time where I actually just intentionally just like sat and talked to them or like talked to them about things about myself, and like they learned things where afterwards they were telling their parents like, man, did you know AJ does this? Like, did you know AJ does that? Like, so
Okay.
I think like legit, like don't underestimate the power of the influence that you can have, like
Um,
as
Yeah.
you become a youth pastor. So like, um, I just think it's like it's the reality of like a true thing of like it maybe whether you realize it or not, the way that you act and like the way that you have conversations with them are can really be sometimes more impactful
Yeah.
than your teaching, than the things that you're actually trying to like teach and minister to them. But like the time where of like, man, like I hope that in years to come that like I have students that think about like, man, I remember like when I just would AJ would like have lunch with me, or like AJ would like we just would, or like I have students right now that I'm trying to like teach instruments. Like I hope for me like I hope those are the moments for them
okay.
that they look back on, and
Sure.
that's like can be the more impactful. And so that's like the biggest thing that I would say to somebody coming in is like just don't underestimate the power that relationship has with students, because I mean they sit in classes all day long, like they don't need another just teacher,
Yeah.
like they need
Yeah.
somebody that's going to actually like sit and talk to them and like hang out with them and interact with
Yeah.
them and care about them.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
so
like that's
important.
like the huge like just the biggest thing that I would say.
Yeah, I mean they have access to all kinds of knowledge and AI and YouTube videos that are much better preachers than any of us if you really think about it, but they
Yeah.
don't have that personal connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So all three of us, as we all have different cultures that we, different cities, different environments. I know for AJ and I, we both do middle school and high school combined.
Mm.
And I know Kyle, for you, I know at your church, you guys do middle school on one day,
Yep.
and then high school on another. We've kind of touched base on this on our last episode. Um, just real quickly before we kind of wrap up, um, I'm just going to ask all three of us to quickly just share our experience with that. If you were listening to this and you're wondering, what is that? How do we, you know, what's best and what's not? Our answer for that is it fully depends on the culture of your church,
Yeah.
the culture of the town that you live in. You have to make that decision based on the environment that you're in. So just because one way works for Kyle and one way works for AJ and I doesn't mean that it's going to work specifically for you. And so I'll start just quickly to quick little pro and con what my experience is, and I'll let you guys quickly share, and then we got a rapid fire questions for AJ. So.
Yeah.
Um, I know for me, we do middle school and high school together. That is due to space. We do not have enough leaders to split up the multiple days. Um, we have plenty of room in the church basement, but once again, you got to have enough leaders to you don't want to ask them to double duty if they can't. Um, and so what I really like about that is that it brings together momentum, right? It's exciting to have a lot of people together. There's a lot of good connections between siblings, whether they want to hang out together or not. Like the older one kind of gets to bring the younger one along. But also, our biggest obstacle in that for our group specifically is that as students get older, um, they find that youth group is immature because you have seventh and eighth graders who are like, ha ha ha, dude,
Six,
how did
seven,
you?
6, 7.
Yeah, literally all the time, right? And so they're looking for something deeper and authentic, and it's hard to offer that altogether. There's only certain topics that you can teach on when it comes to middle school and high school. Um,
Yeah.
and I know for middle school that's seventh and eighth grade for me. Same for you, right, AJ?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, our group, stays pretty young. Most of our group is eighth grade and freshmen. So we're kind of having this transition period. But a lot of our older students have, made comments of like, hey, like, I don't really want to come to youth group anymore because it's turned into
That's so
like
hard.
we're not getting anywhere. And so the reason why we haven't changed from this is, and once again, it's all based on context and where you're at. I grew up in a youth group that did that, and it killed all the momentum
Yeah.
because you went from having 40 students in a room together to 20, and all of a sudden you start to realize as a student maybe I do like having those middle schoolers around. Right. And so I've kind of been through that and experienced that in a similar setting that we're in now. And so that's a big reason why I haven't pulled the trigger on it, along with kind of leaders and things. Obviously, if you have the opportunity to do so and it is healthy and right for your group, you totally should. AJ, can you speak into that a little bit, and then Kyle, I'll let you wrap up
Yeah,
that
fix the problem for us, AJ. What you got?
Yeah, so I mean, just a little bit like the reason why we start at seventh. So we do 7 through 12. I mean, the biggest reason are a couple. Like our sixth grade and like doing that in kids ministry, we actually separate. And so we have up until fourth grade, we do kids min, and then we have a special like fifth and sixth grade. We call it switch. And so that's just for them on Sundays. And really, we just recognize that sixth graders, there's
Yeah,
often just
yeah,
that's that transition of like
that's a great,
awkward.
great.
it's a
Yeah,
little
fifth
bit
and
too
sixth
old
grade, right there.
for
Yeah,
like
yeah.
kidsmen, but they're
Pre
just not
preteen.
quite,
Yeah,
yeah, they're not quite ready for the conversations that we have in youth. And so that's why that group exists, because we can still give them exactly what they need for their age and help them get to where they're going to be ready. And so then we start, and we actually bring we bring incoming seventh graders in halfway through the summer. We just started doing this last year, and it works so well that we really want to keep it.
that's
And the
good.
reason we do that is we do our summer trip. We've been going to a conference. What we do, we go to this conference called Bold Conference in Kansas City,
Oh yeah,
and so we go to that. And just the reality is like I've noticed that if you bring a seventh grader in that's never been in youth group, and then immediately after being in youth group for 2 or 3 weeks in the summer, take them immediately to a camp where it's just all in right away, it's really intense. And so
yeah.
we
Yeah.
to bring their transition a little bit easier, we go to camp, we take all the students that have been around for the last year, especially those last incoming group,
Yeah.
and then we go to camp, and then we come back, and then we welcome in the new group of students where it's here your first couple of weeks, and really your big intro to youth is just a regular Wednesday night. There's
Yeah.
nothing crazy happening, there's
Yeah.
nothing going on, but just learn the routine and the rhythm of what it looks like to be in youth group, get comfortable. And then yeah, it's kind of like what Mike was talking about. We keep them all together, purely just for us, like space and kind of availability. We don't have like a ton of the option to split, but then also for us, like I really don't have, especially for my group. Like I said, most of my group is that kind of 7 through like
Yeah,
sophomore
so it's not
age,
evenly split.
Yeah.
where there's not even enough to really do a split.
Yeah.
And what I really try to do is, as those kids get older, and the thing I even just remember is like what type of responsibility can I give them to
Yeah.
where it doesn't feel like they're attending daycare on a Wednesday night with all the middle schoolers, but like
Yeah.
something that they can actually do of like, okay, when I come here, this is my job, this is my responsibility, this is
Yeah, some
my youth group.
intentionality. Yeah.
Yeah, and so and we're not, we're this is something that like was brand new for us, and so it's even just something that like I'm trying to figure out individual students like, okay, what really could you do? Like, what is something that, and maybe it's the little things like as we wrap up for the night, like, hey, I'm gonna like just trust you of like if I need to call on somebody to pray to dismiss us, you're gonna be that person. You're the student that I can trust. It's like, and that's your role, but that gives them that thing where
Sure.
it doesn't feel like I'm just here with a bunch of toddlers. It feels like with these seventh graders for the high schoolers. Again, so it's kind of helps bridge that gap. Um, and yeah, like when I was in youth group, we split for a while and then we came back together. So I've even as a student experienced both. And it's kind of the same thing of like it as a middle schooler, you split and it's kind of like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like I don't really know how to feel about this. But then as a high schooler, it's kind of like what Mike was saying. It's like you kind of lose some of the you can lose some of that energy. Um, and then I think again it all depends on what are your capabilities as a church, like what are your serving capabilities, because
Yep.
it's really hard, especially if you don't have a whole team. It's really difficult to try to do that split because then you're actually doubling your load as the leader
You
if
are.
you don't have a
Sure.
sufficient team to do that, because then like already the responsibility is yours, but then you've now doubled the ministry that you're trying to do
Yeah.
without other people to help come around you and help serve and be intentional. And so
Yeah.
it's just kind of like those little things of like, what for you, what are you capable of? What do you feel like you can intentionally do and do well? Because you don't just want to split because it's like, man, like they don't really love it, so I'm just going to split. But then you're really only like giving half of your attention to each group, trying to keep up. But
Yeah.
like for me, it's like especially for me, like doing worship as well. It's like, man, if I had another like the split, and I was
Just
trying to do,
another thing.
Right.
I
Another
just
night of the week.
know like I wouldn't really give full attention to either of them, and that's really more of a disservice to the
Yeah, for
students.
sure.
Where like if they were all together, I can actually give them attention because they're all together. I'm just thinking about them all in one group.
Yeah, there's lots of like checks and balances and questions you should ask is if or when should I split my group? And one of them is it going to benefit in the long run both groups more?
Yeah.
If you're like, well, I have to sacrifice one group in order for this other group to survive, that might not be a wise choice to split. So I would say there's resources, there's space, there's time, and then you can split the right way and the wrong way. I think of the gradual split where by grades, okay, this next year we're going to go, 10th through 12th grade. And I've seen it to where there's a 6 month kind of overlap. So we actually split middle school and high school, but we have sixth through eighth grade. So we don't have a preteen ministry. So sixth graders are in school with their peers, and so it's there with the year in the middle in ministry with their peers. So sixth through eighth grade on Wednesday nights because that coincides with the kids ministry. So kids ministry is 6:30 to 8. We're 6:30 through 8. Try to get everything middle school sermon, worship, small groups, all in 30-minute chunks. It's a lot. High school we meet on Sunday nights, but I actually have a full-time middle school director and a full-time high school director that reports to me, so I can take all their credit, but they do all the work. No, they listen to the podcast and they might guys shake their heads. No, uh, uh, we didn't start out that way. When I first started, we didn't. I was the high school director or high school pastor, and we had a volunteer middle school leader. And over the years, as we grew and developed, we added that. So if you don't have the personnel and if you don't have the volunteer adult space, then I wouldn't split. So if
And
you're
don't stretch yourself thin.
yeah, it's you and your spouse doing all the ministry. That's hard. I do think you can be creative in your programming and have high school only events outside of
Yeah,
Wednesday nights that could scratch the itch in some of the high schoolers.
sure.
Because here's what I've seen, and the number one reason why we split is groups that are together, the middle schoolers tend to thrive because they're okay having older people in that youth group. It doesn't bother them. But it always hurts the high school, particularly the juniors and seniors, when they start driving themselves, just
Yes.
because they get sick of the certain games or the immaturity that a seventh grader brings. That it's not the seventh grader's fault, and they start going, I don't know if I'm want to be here, and they either become a leader and get invested, or they kind of drop out. I've never seen it to where I don't like it, but I'm going to keep coming as well for juniors and seniors because they have the freedom to drive themselves. So it's a space issue, size issue, and availability issue for your leaders. But I do think we can dedicate a whole episode just talking about that. Right now, AJ, there's no plans for you to like split because things are going good, right? I just want to clarify that.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
So
talking about
we
split,
keep
but
it
that doesn't
together.
mean you have to.
Yeah. And we're kind of like working that out of like we want to start doing more like we've been talking about doing maybe like a spring retreat or something like our college
Yes.
ministry is actually doing that. But like when we do stuff in the future, like we want to and even like maybe in the summers, like is there stuff that we can do that's just high school only? It's
Right.
Yeah.
kind of especially as I have this group of kind of more that sophomores that are stepping into it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
so my brain is thinking about okay, next year, what
Yes.
are the things that I can start doing that are like high school only focused, give them the opportunity. And we would, in my youth group, we did that where in the summers, we would call them, so like we had our youth and then we would call them late nights during the
Yeah.
summer. And so
Yeah.
we'd have our youth and then we would have a late night and like, we would go get food somewhere. We would go meet and our youth pastor had a pool. Like we'd go to his pool and like hang out at his house, like things that were, and it was just a very aware thing of like middle schoolers. This is just a thing for you to look forward to. Like
Yes.
this,
Yeah.
This is just for high schoolers. It's just their time.
That's great.
And I remember that as a student, like that was that thing of like, hey, I'm serving, but like I loved youth, but then that was the thing of like, okay, but then we get to go do late night afterwards. Like we
Yeah.
get to go have our time. And so that's even for me, like that's what I'm planning for now is like as this group of students that I have gets older and I have students that would be open and available for that, what are the things that I can offer them that's high school specific just to give them that space?
That's a great transition period, particularly if you have a big group of freshmen and sophomore. That's when you start doing it. You don't wait till they're juniors or seniors and then plan for
Right.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Sweet. Well, as we wrap up here, AJ, I got 8 rapid fire questions for you.
Oh, I'm going
Uh,
to throw a few more too.
Oh, Kyle's got them loaded.
So when we
Uh,
say rapid fire, we mean short, quick answers, and we might not even let you finish. We're on to the next one. All right.
Oh boy. Okay.
So yeah, for those of you guys who are new watching or listening, this is something that we just like to do with our guests for you to get to know them a little better.
And
Yeah.
we did not and you do not see these questions beforehand, right, AJ? Like you have no idea what they're
No.
saying. Okay, great.
Wow. This is like good like jazz chops for me though. Like keeping on my toes. Like
Nice. And feel free to
Yeah,
yell
zero
in the
from
middle of
here.
any one of them if you
yeah.
want.
All right, AJ, number 1. What's your go-to gas station snack?
Ooh, Quick Trip hot dog.
Yeah, nice.
All right, Kyle, go ahead and throw it in there.
Yeah, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Okay.
What is your most used emoji right now?
Can I look?
Yeah.
I actually really don't know.
Yeah, we're gonna believe whatever you say.
Whatever you say. This is rapid fire, AJ.
Sorry guys. It's actually a custom one that I cut out of Borat doing this.
All right, sweet. What song are you embarrassed to admit you love?
Bro, Big Time Rush.
Oh, okay.
That's a big thing. That's
Honestly,
a lot of
actually, I don't
memories.
think I'm embarrassed by that, but we'll just
Yep, nope. First thing that comes to your mind. I love it.
Yeah.
If you could swap lives with anyone for one day, who would it be?
Elmo.
All right.
Okay,
That's
what
a
TV
simple
show?
answer.
What TV show have you watched more than one all the way through? More than once.
The Office.
Nice.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Tea.
Oh, switching it up.
Look at this guy. He's got his pinky up. All right. Before we get to any serious ones, what is your favorite memory with me specifically?
Oh man.
That's
This is
appropriate.
scary.
How about
This is
that? Can we
actually
clarify
really
that?
scary.
That's
Yeah,
appropriate.
no, I think he
No,
knows
yeah.
the parameters here.
For college. I know. I mean, dude, we joked about this last time, but there was this one time Hutch would host this jazz festival for high schoolers to come.
Okay.
And during it, our director, for some reason, put Mike and I in charge of the social media for the day. And we knew the guy that was the school mascot, which is literally a blue dragon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Duke,
Okay.
the blue dragon. And he just happened to be like walking by and he let Mike put it on. And so
Yeah, put the
Mike,
suit on.
yeah, like Mike wore our mascot suit, this giant blue dragon, and he like just walked around for a little bit. We took some videos.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's
And you
really
posted
legit.
it? Yeah.
They're
I think
they're
we
around
did.
somewhere. I definitely
Yeah,
have
they're
them.
somewhere.
All right.
Yeah.
I definitely got them.
Next one. What's your favorite grade?
Like that I was in or to teach.
You choose.
Uh
And this is public, just so you know. So the students listening. Well, that's the reaction I want. Like, what do I say without getting in trouble?
I'd say like maybe junior.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. All right. Do you have any kids? Like you personally, like you and your family?
One on the way.
Okay. Nice. Is it a surprise or do you know if it's a boy or a girl?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah. We're
Okay.
not that far along.
And-
Okay.
And just to clarify, you're not breaking this for the first time on the podcast.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
So
is this-
we've been
Right.
telling
That's a
people-
good question.
Yeah, so
Like, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, man.
Yeah, we've been telling people.
Okay,
So.
okay, good. Thanks, Mike, for a good clarification for that.
But because I'm just gonna be honest, I don't remember talking about this when AJ and I got lunch like a month ago.
So that's the, like that was like right before we started telling people. It was like a week before we started.
I was just
people.
like, I'm figuring it out in real
First
time
time.
right now.
Okay.
I like
Breaking news.
I was like,
You guys are
man,
great.
I could tell him like Mike really wouldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Man, maybe I should just wait. So like
Yeah.
maybe we should tell like family and friends, people. Like we should just kind of
You know,
like,
some other people
give
versus
some
your
space.
friends.
Yeah. Listen, I understand I shouldn't be number one on your list.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I know I'll see Mike. I'll tell him when I see him again.
Yeah, here we are.
Awesome.
Congrats, AJ.
Thanks.
So AJ, final thing, do you want to do a shout out or even a promo or Instagram shout outs, anything you want? This is your chance if you want to share kind of final thoughts, shout outs, anything like that.
Oh man.
The pressure's on.
Dude, it is.
Like we've had people on and they've really liked this unknown band that they wanted people to know about. Or some people put their youth ministry's Instagram account. Like
you know.
Mike has shared Luke Combs, but most people know about Luke Combs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, shameless plug, like, bro, presence worship.
Okay.
We got music out, stuff that I've like helped record and do stuff. But
We've had Jake Stimmo on the podcast.
Oh, sweet, yeah. Love Jake. Yeah. Oh, dude, I know one. So there's this kid, Isaiah Ross.
Okay.
Dude, he's been started releasing music. I mean, he's the real deal. So yeah, people can look him up.
ROSS Ross.
Yeah, Isaiah Ross. And I mean, he's like legit. Like he's got some bangers out. I think he actually like literally released a song today, too. So
okay,
all right,
nice.
I mean, it's
all right,
pretty sweet.
Isaiah Ross.
I used to play in this band, Cardinal Lane. Pretty dope. Check him out.
This is what it totally reminds me of real fast of when Pam and Roy are planning their wedding.
Yeah.
And they're trying to pick a band, and then
Kevin.
Pam's showing Jim at this band, and Kevin's sitting there playing drums. Like, hey, that's Kevin. Like,
yeah, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
Thanks for the shout out.
Dude, I mean, I haven't like we haven't played a show in like 2 or 3 years, and I wasn't even like an original member of the band. They just were like, "Hey, like, you want to come play these shows with us?" I was like, "Sweet, yeah, I'll do it."
Okay,
but
love that.
Yeah.
And what's the band called again?
Cardinal Lane.
Cardinal Lane. Okay,
Yeah.
Cardinal Lane
too.
Lane.
Their social media is going to blow up with the
Yeah.
tens of people that listen to this podcast.
Yeah, no, for real.
Nice,
Oh.
thank you.
Yeah, AJ, it has been a pleasure to have you to be on and just hear about how things are going, what you're doing, and as we look to handle awkward better, of course, we just appreciate you taking some time to spend it with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and those of you guys listening or watching, follow us on Instagram at the ETA Podcast. We'd love for you guys to message us, let us know kind of what you're doing, how your ministry's going. If there's any way that we can help, if you have any questions that you want us to answer, we'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, we'll follow up with AJ if he's having a boy or a girl too. Yeah.
We'll have the gender reveal. Just kidding. We're not. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Before his family.
AJ just gets on. It's just blue smoke. And we're like, surprise.
Email your family this episode. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's good. So follow us on Instagram at the ETA Podcast. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And most importantly, thank you for being our friend. We'll see you next time.
Bye.